Hi, I'm Tim Clark. My wife and I have enjoyed our 1960 Chevy Impala bubble top for around 13 years. Now, I built this as a road trip car with a new Crate 350 engine, 700R4 automatic transmission, vintage heat and air conditioning, all new front and rear suspension, fast ratio power steering, disc and drum brakes, tilt steering, stereo, etc. We've driven the entire Route 66 from Chicago to LA, and we've enjoyed other long and short road trips as well. Now we're ready for a change, so I'm posting it for sale. I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you a few details starting at the front and working back. So let's get started. Under the hood, you'll see an aluminum radiator with dual electric fans. Behind that is the new Pace Performance 350 crate engine that I installed. Now, this is a turnkey 290 horsepower with electronic ignition, Holley 4-barrel, and I also installed the Sanderson block hugger headers. Behind the engine, I installed a new TCI 700R4 4-speed automatic transmission with a lockup torque converter. Now, at about 65 miles an hour, the engine has about a 2200 RPM. I had a new one-piece drive shaft custom made to the rear end. Now, the rear end is the original housing, original to the car, but it's been completely rebuilt with new Yukon 325 gears, all new bearings, and new gaskets. Up front, I lowered the front suspension around 3 inches by installing new, shorter coil springs and shock absorbers. I also installed new tubular upper and lower control arms, bushings, etc. The rear suspension has new coil springs, shock absorbers, and new Airlift brand airbags that I installed inside the coil springs. In the trunk is an onboard air compressor for the airbags. Now, this is really handy as I can easily adjust the airbags for the weight we carry in the trunk for our longer road trips. The steering is all new from the steering wheel to the tires. I installed a new I Did It brand tilt steering column with a new slightly smaller diameter original style steering wheel. Instead of a typical rag joint, I opted for a new Borgeson U-joint with built-in rubber dampener. I also installed a new CPP custom performance parts fast ratio power steering gearbox. With that, I also installed a new power steering pump, brackets, and fluid lines. Under the car, I also installed a new pitman arm, idler arm, center link, and new tie rod ends. For the braking system, I installed a CPP custom performance parts kit, which included a dual reservoir power brake master cylinder, new vacuum booster, and new front disc brakes. I also rebuilt the original style rear drum brakes. All the brake lines on the car have also been replaced. The fuel system has a new gas tank, sending unit, new fuel lines, and new mechanical fuel pump. When I installed the new crate engine, I also installed the new vintage heat and air conditioning system. It uses the original in-dash controls and operates the floor vent, the under-dash vents, and the windshield defroster. While I had the car apart, I also installed a new custom-made padded dash. Now, this is pretty unique, as very few 1960 Impalas have this feature. I also installed a newly rebuilt speedometer head, as I wanted to keep the original mechanical look. Under the dash, I have the typical gauges for oil pressure, water temperature, and volts. I replaced the original AM radio with a new custom auto sound stereo. It has the typical AM and FM, plus a flash drive containing around 1,000 tracks of music, plus my Sirius XM satellite receiver. Last year, I had new tires installed on the American Racing Torque Thrust 2 wheels, and it also received a professional 4-wheel alignment at that time. The floor, frame, and trunk pan are believed to be original and in excellent condition. I also personally believe the fenders, doors, quarter panels, etc. are original to the car. All the windows roll up and down. The windshield was replaced a few years ago due to a stone chip. The doors open and shut and lock correctly. Now the paint, stainless, and chrome is older and it's showing its age. I believe all the stainless and chrome is probably original to the car. The car was repainted years ago before I bought it. The paint is showing its age with some chips, and there is some light bubbling around the rear wheel openings. Now, it looks nice from a distance, but it's not show quality. If you want to win trophies at a car show, you'll probably want to repaint the car. The interior is beautiful, and the red and white houndstooth really looks great with the gloss black paint. Again, this has been my personal car for about 13 years, and my wife and I have really enjoyed many adventures. I have a clean Arkansas title in our name, and I have a lot of restoration papers and receipts that go with the car. Please feel free to contact me to discuss further.